So here we have our scene that will be our notification. It has one label already on it. I'm actually going to delete that label and start from scratch. Now this is a little small because it's meant to be small, but I'm going to open up the attribute panel and do a couple changes here. We're going to go to size, pick on the view controller so I have the full thing, and you can see that we got 37 height for here. I'm actually going to make this a bigger one. We're going to make it 300, okay, for the simulated size. Okay, now that we have a bigger size to play with, we can start adding some items to it. I'm going to add a label, and I'm going to add 3 labels. One at the top, one underneath it, one near the bottom. I'm also going to add an image, which I'll put towards the center like that. So I've done a basic layout of what I want to do. I'm going to now move this up a bit so that it's closer to the image here. I'm going to move the image view back to almost square, like that. And move this label like that. So I have some general ideas of how I'm going to put these labels together. I'm going to put this top one, I'm going to call title, subtitle, and body. I'm going to take this label here, and with the attributes inspector, I'm going to change its font. Let's see if we can actually change some fonts around here and make it a title font. And just for fun, scoot it all the way over. I'm going to take the subtitle font and move it over as well. Now, what I'm going to do with the subtitle font is a little interesting, because what I'm going to do here, I'm going to change the lines to 0 and the line break to word wrap. So anything that doesn't fit in this size will actually start to do some word wrapping. And down here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do that 0 and line break so I can make up as many lines as it really wants to make. So I have 3 labels and an image view. And now I'm just going to keep them in the right places by using some auto layout. I'm going to click on the title. I'm going to go to pin. And it says 20 on the top. I'm actually going to change that to 10. I'm going to change the title on the side here to 4 on one side and a margin of 4 on the other side. And I'm going to leave this one alone for right now. Update frames, items of new constraints, and add the 3 constraints. So I got my title figured out here. Next is the subtitle. For this one, it'll be 4 on this margin. I'm going to pick 10 to the image view, and I'm going to hold off on anything else right now, and you'll see why in a second. And so it's going to complain. I'm also going to do the body. The body, I've got 0 here. I'm going to do 8 here. I'm going to do 0 here. So the left and right will be 4, really. So we keep it consistent. And 8 on the bottom. And I haven't done anything with that yet. So add the 3 constraints. That one I can actually update. And so it can go back down to the bottom at the moment. Here's this image view. I've got a bunch of things I have to do to the image view. I'm going to keep this image view exactly where it is, and we're going to use the control key and drag up to the view. And it'll be vertical spacing to top layout guide. I'm going to keep this exactly where I want it. And then the same thing again, control down, vertical spacing to bottom layout guide. And then control left and trailing space to container margin, so that this is pretty much pinned to the view itself, not to any of these buttons. And everything else will be anchored to this. Okay. And we got the subtitle. And I still got 1 constraint left for the subtitle here. And I'm just going to go up to here. And that will be vertical spacing using control drag. All right, so my misplaced views are all done. I can go ahead and hit the resolve constraints. And we now have a made up view. Our next step will, of course, be to, as if we were in a app, is to set some outlets. Now, we already had an outlet here for the label. I'm going to delete this one. And since we deleted a label earlier, I'm always a big fan of hitting clean before you do anything else here, because it makes life a lot easier in the long run. And of course, it's saying, oh yeah, I don't know what this thing is, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, so what I'm going to do here is control drag from title and make an outlet called title label. I'm going to go to subtitle, control drag from subtitle, make another outlet, subtitle label. Click body, hit control drag, and make a body label. So we have 3 outlets so far. One more to go. We got our image view. And I'll call this my image. So we've got our 4 outlets. All right, you can go ahead and you can close up the assistant editor. You can close the attributes. And we have ourselves a made-up custom notification. Our next step will be to code it.